Welcome back to another episode of Talking Ball with Steveospeak. As every Tuesday, we're going to do some Underdog live draft dailies. Talk ball, talk about the week behind, the week ahead. Go over our best ball portfolio, answer questions. I'm always happy to look into others' best balls portfolios. Any questions you might have about that, and we will get into it all. So join me for a couple drafts and just talking ball. I'll let some people filter in before we really get into anything. Last night's game, it was low scoring and definitely not the most exciting fantasy game. But I will say it was much more entertaining than Thursday's game of a similar low score variety. So at least it was entertaining. But yeah, not what I expected. I wasn't too shocked that the Eagles were able to win, but definitely thought that both teams would be able to get in the end zone a couple times. So we'll get into that and all that more as we get into the show today. And I just want to thank everyone for jumping in. Talking ball, supporting us. Come over to YouTube, hit the like button. We appreciate your support and thank you so much. So as we get into it, I'll start on Underdog. This is the fourth week in a row that I had a bit of a weekly winners sweat with a team that finished in the top 300. Two of them finished in top 50, which obviously is a little bit more, more money. But I just wanted to go over this. I finished 247, so top 250 in this. And, I was just 32 points outside of first, which is a lot, a fair amount. But, just even if I got 15 points, 20 points, just a much different payday than winning $15 for finishing 247th. My team, Daniel Jones, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott. So all I had was Daniel Jones. So with him just having kind of an average day, I kind of limited me. And then my running back, I nailed the top two guys, having the top two guys, JT and Gibbs. But then unfortunately, Kamara was my only other healthy back in this team. Chris Olave, Devontae Adams, Alec Pierce, Jaden Higgins, Keenan Allen, Josh Downs, and then Travis Hunter also hurt. Tyler Warren, Theo Johnson, Jake Ferguson. So, with JT getting everything, not as much there Pierce and Warren were fine and obviously counted, but just not enough there overall. And then, Adams kind of leaving the game early. That didn't help matters there as well. But still happy to get a win, be profiting. I only did 25 teams, so the $15 there is on top of the 272 I've already made. So it's nice to be profiting in one of these formats already. And we will get into some more stuff shortly. Let me hit up chat. We got our guy Mike Robin here. What's going on? We got Hulk's Mashed Potatoes. Hey, how you guys doing? We got my sister in here. Hey, brother, how's it going? Reflect the Sun. Good seeing you. Appreciate the like. Ant, I was about to lose in my redraft against Barkley. Needed 15 points, only got 13. Yeah, definitely a disappointing night for basically anyone fantasy-wise. And even Josh Jacobs, who I believe had the best fantasy day, loses 2 points at the end in terms of underdog scoring on that fumble. Are you going to look at BBMD? Yes, of course. And Mike asking, is that Bossy Betsy? We got Hartman joining in. How's it going, Hartman? Hope you're doing well. Let me see. I know I can't. We did 4 teams together, I believe. And at one point, like all 4 were cashing. I think last I saw 3 were. I'm trying to remember. Let me see if I find those before I go over to BBMD, because I didn't label many teams. I only labeled the ones I did drafts with people. So let me see if I can remember. Oh, I can live. What did we do? I think we did a sprint, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, stream draft with Hartman, that is advancing. What else did we do? I think we did one of those MMG contests. Let me see. I know we did a Best Ball Mania, so let me check that. That was advancing at one point. Not sure if that still is. Looks like we've lost that one. Didn't I do one? I thought I did one with Hartman. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong on that. And then there's another team I really liked that we did, and I can't find it. I think it was an MMG. I can't find it right now. I'll have to look and highlight those ones. But last I saw, we were advancing three of the four that we did. Probably sprint and BBM. Yeah, I didn't see it in the BBM real quick. Let me just check again. Because I thought it was a pretty good team. I know we did 0 running back, I believe. That's Sean and Meg Hartman. Yeah, so that one's no longer cashing. Yeah, there it is. We cooked. That's all we need to know. Exactly. So we'll see. Hopefully, the sprint's looking pretty good. So that let me since I know that team's advancing, let me look at that one real quick before we get into anything else. And I think that might have been the Scatterboo team, which so sad. So yeah, let's see this team. Yeah, we're in clear first place by a pretty good margin. Lamar, May, Rogers, Gibbs, Jacobs. So last night helped. I think Bigsby, Tyler Algier, Will Shipley, Blake Corum, and yeah, so this wasn't a 0 RB team. I think that was a BBM. DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers, Ricky Pearsall, Steph Diggs, Michael Pittman Jr., Sharp Bateman, Alec Pierce, and Mark Andrews, Zach Ertz. So just 2 tight ends, but yeah, doing really good in the sprint. And I actually like it, definitely in a sprint format, because I think when we get into playoff time, this team could be, very dangerous. It's pretty healthy. While Bigsby, Shipley aren't, they're clearly kind of sharing the backup role, as we saw last night. Algier and Corum are both getting some decent usage, as we'd expect. And of course, we got the 2 running back hammers, Gibbs and Jacobs. Receiver wise, love to get Ricky Pearsall back. Other than that, pretty good, especially with how Pierce has been used. So pretty happy with that. Yeah, we really stacked up Lamar. So, if it's like Flowers one week, Andrews another week, Bateman, it could really do some damage in a sprint format, I feel like. All right. Let me go over to well, actually, real quick, just Megan, I mentioned this yesterday, but yeah, rookie sophomores has taken a big hit. Like a week ago, I think I was cashing 215. I'm now down to 125 between Scatterboo, Jaden Daniels. It's rough sailing right now for rookie and sophomore for me, but I'll get some through. Hopefully, can make a little run. I mean, it's got pretty good advance rate once you get through, so still hopeful in that. So let me bring over BBMD and check that out. Not a huge difference from yesterday, as one would imagine, with the low scoring game. And oddly, I did lose a couple teams, even though I'm pretty high on like some of the few fantasy quality pieces from yesterday. Go over to portfolio. And I'm at 401. I think it was like 405 yesterday. So roughly the same. I do know one or two were higher dollar ones, so that's unfortunate. But overall, happy. We're through 10 weeks, including a big bye week. With the Bengals, Cowboys. I don't have a ton of Chiefs, but a little bit. And then of course the Titans, who even if I do have a decent number of some of those guys, and it's just definitely not paying off. But still, as I said yesterday, pretty generally happy where I am across the board. There's no like area where I feel I'm super weak. Even in like some of the different styles, like the sprint, the Badge Bros Brawl, I'm doing fine. I'm actually picking up some in Superflex. Where is it? Puppy Superflex. I'm up to 18%. I think last week it was 16%. So, got some positive news about Burrow coming back and maybe even Jaden not being fully shut down, though I kind of think he will be. Basketball Mania did lose a couple. So that's unfortunate. I'd love to have over 20 teams advance. I only did the 80. But generally speaking, pretty good. Now I'm advancing 8 of the 20 Huskies, 3 of the 10 Pit Bulls, just 2 of the 9 Chow Chows. I got a team right on the wire. 1 bigger board. I think still the 2 Dalmatians, yeah. And then the 3 of the 4 Bulldogs. So, like I said, pretty happy not advancing the Great Dane. That team took injury after injury. Let's look at that real quick. Baker, Brock Purdy, Aaron Rodgers, Christian McCaffrey, who's great. Chase Brown, who's finally picking it up, but James Conner, Braylon Allen, Austin Eckler. So I've been a 2 running back team basically all year. I mean, these 3 injuries happened within the first 3-4 games, and just had so I only had 1 running back this week. And then Mike Evans injury, JMO Diggs, Thielen not playing, Slayton injury, and then Warren Ertz for me. So my tight ends are my best feature in like the one uninjured area of the team. So that wasn't fun for the highest dollar team I did, but overall, like I said, pretty happy with where I'm at. How's everyone else feeling now that we're through 10 weeks, just 4 weeks to go to the playoffs? Of course, things like marathon, drafters, a little bit more time. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm in 5th place in drafters. I'm 31 points out of first still. So, and this was a week where no Dak, no Pickens, no Jamar Chase. So I was missing some key guys to go along with like the Scatterboo injury and stuff. And then the guys I did have just didn't do much. Jake Ferguson also is on that team. So still have a real shot on that one. Some of my other ones have faded slightly. I mean, I could have some decent cashes and profit, but we'll see. Let me hit up chat again. Yeah, we'll look at the marathon in a second. Not many 0 spots exactly. How are we feeling about Joe Burrow? That could be the first monkey wrench for the playoffs. Yeah, I did see another report today that they're thinking that instead of week 13, the Thanksgiving night game against the Ravens, I think it was Schefter or Rapp. One of them said it's probably more likely week 14. So then only 1 game, but no, big monkey wrench for the playoffs for sure. Flacco's been doing well. I think we assume that Burrow can be roughly similar, if not better than Flacco. I'm sure there's going to be some rust, but that definitely keeps alive, Chase and Higgins and even Chase Brown for the playoff run. So yeah, I think as many teams like Chase, Higgins, Chase Brown even teams that Joe Flacco can push through, boy, it could get very interesting. And then some of those I'm sure are with Burrow. Like we talked about yesterday, my Joe Burrow exposure is so I'm advancing 20%, almost 21% of my Joe Burrow teams. And the biggest hole right now is honestly the probably with Superflex and the big board, which makes sense because in the big board I couldn't even account for bye weeks and stuff like that. And probably with Superflex, that was your first round pick. It's much different when you can push through a Burrow in the 5th round or 6th round or 7th round versus your first round pick. So I'd love to be able to push 1 or 2 more of those teams through, but I'm not going to hold out too much hope. If I end up with 30, essentially 21% of my Burrow teams making it to the playoffs, I'll be pretty happy. Let's go over and look at Marathon. And feel free to, like I said, shout out anything. Kicks, I'm curious about what the Cowboys D looks like after the new addition on Quinn Williams. Yeah, that's interesting. I definitely think they are no longer the best matchup versus running backs. I don't think they go from being essentially stone worst to top 10, but probably going to be more closer to the middle of the pack would be my guess. Even the Logan Wilson addition probably is a slight upgrade. So, but I don't, Quentin Williams can rush the passer a little bit, but I don't think it necessarily changes the passing game near as much. But it should at least help in stopping the run some. We got our guy Chad Candles in here, GM Steve. Hope you're doing well, Chad. Solidly at baseline expectation across the board. Nice. I think this has been there's no doubt this has been a brutal year with injuries. We just saw it last night. No major injuries last night, but the Packers came into this year with Tucker Kraft as the number 1, Jane Reed as their top tight end, Jane Reed is their top receiver, Matthew Golden, this fun rookie. None of those 3 guys are there. And, Jane Reed's going to come back at some point, and they're lucky that Christian Watson was able to come back when he did. But, boy, that team has just been hit with the skill position injury bug. And, we're just seeing that across the board. My top DK Miller team that has Connor and Scatterboot was finally dethroned by a Kraft team. Yeah, no, like I just said, these injuries have just been something this year. Both. Oh, so I thought you meant your top DK Millie team got pushed out of the playoffs by a Kraft team, but you're saying your top DK Millie team both have Rice. Well, Rice could be that key down the stretch for sure. Thanks so much, Ant. 5th now, but has a real shot at the top. Yeah, let's look at the Marathon and see. And I think a couple of people picked up points, but nothing big because last night there wasn't much to pick up. So yeah, Meg is in 5th at 1475. Top team is at 1490. Both teams are at 1492. Meg's at 475, so not too far behind, and she had a lot of players on bye this week. My top team, I think, is like 70 something. Where am I? There I am, 98. So I moved down to 98 because I didn't have anyone going last night. But overall, let me just bring up mine. My marathon, I did 115 teams. I currently have a payout of 2630. That would definitely be a profit. I have a, team 98. team 135, so in the top, just under the top $1,000 price bracket. So really hoping for these couple teams at the top. I'd love to get, one push into more the 4-figure range. I don't think I definitely don't have the chance that Meg has, but I'd love if this team is like top 50 and this team is top 100. That'd be fun. And I have, like 6 teams in the top 1,000, a couple teams, team right outside of it. So feeling pretty good, really strong cash rate. So I'm happy with my marathon as well. We got Steven in here, 26.4%, but BBMD projects 19%, have a 1,600 point DK entry, which is healthy. That's fun. Yeah. It's tough. I definitely don't check DK near as much just because it's more difficult. I need to start checking it more since we are nearing the end of the regular season. Right last I checked, I was advancing, I think, 30%. It was like 29.6% of my, or 29 point something percent of my DK Millie teams, a little less on my other DK stuff, but like at 22%. So pretty happy. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to know what's going to get through. And yeah, it's just want to be as healthy as possible. And, we talked about this before, and I know he has been asked about it, how he figures out his projections for advancing. And, Diablo hasn't, Patrick Donovan really hasn't said. My take on it is, obviously each week it's going to get more and more near the norm. But like, for an instance, let me just go back to mine. Last week, for whatever reason, I was like at 18%. So I like picked up 3.5%. I can't remember the exact number, but it was low. It was not good. And I believe it was lower than the baseline, if I'm not mistaken. So 1 week I shifted up 3.5% in terms of expected. So, I think it's good to look at and, knowledgeable, but end of the day, your teams, if they have another good week, they're going to keep advancing. So, I think you just start to now focus on the teams that you want to advance, either overall as a portfolio or in individual tournaments would be the best way I'd say to look at it. We got Eddie in here. Happy Veterans Day to all. Absolutely. No, Veterans Day is such a great, unique. I know other countries do similar things, but American holiday. We remember Veterans Day. On the day that World War I ended, November 11th, and it's good to remember all those who've served, either in times of war or not, just to always be there for us and protect this country. So thank you to everyone who's a vet and has family or friends who are vets. And Eddie, I know yesterday talked about how his grandfather just passed away and was a vet. And so thank him again. Thank you again for his service, and sorry again for your loss, Eddie. We got Fantasy Football Garage GM. Hope you're doing well. How are you feeling about? I know we talked on Twitter the other day. You can do the matchup feature on BBMD. Let me actually look at that. Rivals. So let me select all, and then see where I'm at. So this is a fun little feature for sure. Take a second. So now this includes all drafts, and I don't know if that includes like a rookie and sophomore and stuff like that, but at least definitely like probably the first quarters and stuff like that. Who Hames and I drafted the most against each other. 16-8. Hartman and I are up there. I'm not even familiar with this name, Ponta01. Guessing that's probably a lot of slow drafts since I do a large percentage of my portfolio slow drafts. Actually, imagine a lot of these names that aren't like some of the most readily available. So Hartman, we're about dead even, 13-12. Candyman and I are still, this is what we were last week. I think we might have been 8-8, so maybe we both picked up a team this week. That's nice. 9-9. FK Coolers is crushing me, so FK no longer allowed in the draft. No, I'm just kidding, FK. So yeah, he's advancing 10 of our 10 teams. I'm only advancing 4. Yeah, no, this is a fun little feature they added. And yeah, you can search different names and stuff like that. All right. We have some pointers team that's up there, Steve. Yeah, so I'm not doing as well. I think I'm only advancing 1 pointers team. Let me see. That was a fun draft, and I remember I did one on stream. It was like a very much friends and family draft. I think we had like 9 of the 12 spots. So yeah, I'm only advancing 1. I got like 3 and 4th, 2 under 50 points. So maybe they still have a shot, even though not very well projected. This one, I am pretty confident that I'm going to advance. 151 point lead. Let's look at this team. Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Daniel Jones. So very strong quarterback play. Barkley, Taylor, Tyler Algier, Rashard White, Chris Rodriguez, Kyle Managai. So hit on some of these later backs as well. JSN, Ridley, Jerry Jeudy. Oof, those 2 are the misses right there. Man, this team would be absolutely cooking if not for those. And then Chris Godwin as well. Receiver is thin. There is no question about that. But then Laporta, Ertz. So going to have to get carried by my quarterback, running backs, and tight end. Let's look at the draft standings in this one. Yeah, this is Ants in this one. Legions in this one. Losimo. Nice. So yeah, that was definitely my best team. Let me just look real quick. No, that one don't recognize any names. This is what's so fun to be able to go and do so easily on BBMD. Slayton was in this one, and your Huckleberry, but none of us are advancing, so that's unfortunate. I mean, because look, if I can't advance, I'm hoping it's one of you guys. Let's check this last 4th place one. Oh, Justin Fields. That looked so much better on paper when I did it. So no one in this one. I definitely did a couple of these slow, so I'm sure that's part of it. All right. Appreciate you, Eddie. Hope you guys are doing well. It's just in 30K minicamp team. Hey, like wherever you find the wins, I'm gonna take it. Like, I mean, last year I was lucky that to get that big board final team for 50K. But hey, if I'm advancing a bunch of $3 tournaments, whatever, like I'm happy with that as well. Got Who Hames in here. I'll of course be on with Who Hames, a game every Tuesday at 3. I started the show a little earlier so we could talk a little bit more ball. Still, we'll get out 10 15 minutes before 3 to get ready. But yeah, Who Hames and I will be on at 3 on his channel talking ball, and yeah, another interesting week to talk about. I would hit up chat, then we'll go over and do a draft. Talk. And I had a DK Millie team that later that would have so excited, but then yeah, that's the tough thing about the playoff format, of course. Like those teams that are up big, they can survive a bad playoff week because every week it matters the same. I mean, maybe you don't win the thing, but you can still have a very high top finish still. Week 11, no JT. Yeah, it is interesting, but it's also one of those things like essentially everyone near the top of just about any tournament. Like JT's advance rate. Let's just look before we get out of here. That's the best way. Leaderboard. You don't want my name. Just for instance, BBM. Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he is advancing 64.4% of JT drafters are advancing, and it will go down after this week since they are finally accounting for the bye. But, he should be like a 50% advanced player. He's just absolutely crushing it this year. And like this expected, I can believe high 50s makes a lot of sense. So, I don't think, if you're only advancing by like 2 points, in a tournament, this could be a tough week not having JT, but there's still 3 more weeks where he can just absolutely crush and dominate. I mean, he's got 5 games. I think he's played 10 games. He's got 5 games with 3+ touchdowns. He's just such a freak this year. He absolutely deserves MVP consideration. 400. If I remember right, my second place teams did better than first place teams on DK. Yeah, I mean, that's sometimes how it is. Like you look at last year, and last year's being a perfect example. Who were the guys you wanted in the first round? It was mainly Chase. Second round was like Barkley. Third round was Henry. All 3 of those guys kind of failed week 15. Chase was the best of them, and that's why it kept some Burrow teams alive and stuff like that. But none of them were great. And those are the 3 like smash guys throughout the entire year. And then Chase actually didn't have a great playoffs. Like he was usable a couple of his games, but not, he was not like this dominant first overall pick, top of the board pick. Plenty of receivers were outpacing him. And yeah, so that's just the tough thing with the playoff format is Chase, Barkley, Henry, those guys got you there. And Barkley had an amazing week 16, but it was like, how can we still advance these teams through? What's the record versus Meg? I mean, we intentionally didn't draft much against one another. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So, I'd be shocked if we have more than like 5 teams. You can only the top 12 show. Or only ones with 12 or more show, and I doubt we did that many. Just check real quick. Yeah. Nope. Not in my top rivals. Yeah, it's a cool feature. Like I drafted against 7,805 different people. Let me see if I can see it from Meg's end. Shelf. So Legion and her went head-to-head. FK Coolers, King of Kings, Frank, Omega King, Hartman, Peanut Punch, Who Hames, TD King, and that's our guy Andrew. Jason Calhoun, Huron River Rat. So a little easier to see on hers because she also does some slow, but she does a lot more. A higher percentage of hers were fast. So definitely would probably recognize more names. for that reason. Oh, there. We did 6. I guessed 5. We did 6. So she's beating me. 1 versus 0. So, damn it, Mike. Now she's going to lord that over me. All right. Let's get back to Underdog. And then I'll get back to chat. Obviously, I mean, we could talk best ball portfolio all day, of course. And like I said, I'm happy to, if you have any teams that you want me to see on BBMD or anything like that, I'm always happy to look that up. But let's get over to Underdog, get into a draft or two to start. As I finish up with chat, well, I'm behind, I know. Judy, 18 points. He is heating up, Steve. Yeah, he had I think it was his best day. Oh, sorry. I have Justin Fields, Cam Ward, Derek Carr, bigger board team advancing. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm sure I have some Derek Carr. I was drafting him a good chunk before the retirement. Justin Fields. I don't know how much longer they're sticking with him. I'm not sure if they've announced anything today. But boy, that was rough to watch. So let's jump into a draft here. I will start off with a Wildcat. I remember last week people saying they wanted to do more Wildcat. So we'll start off here. I'll enter in 10 seconds. And in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. All right, filling up. One more to go. We got Young Moolah in here, JB Sports. Happy Tuesday. Thanks to all the veterans for your service. Absolutely, 100%. Anybody with the Kamani Vidal team advancing, I have you in the little board. Nice. 64%. Yeah. It is wild, but I get it. What season stat line does JT need to put up to be MVP? So I think it boils down to two things. One, I think it's obviously going to be tough for Lamar to be MVP. Josh Allen, if they don't win the division, he's not going to be MVP. And look, he had a good game on Sunday. And Chiefs, it could be the same thing. Are they going to win the division? Mahomes is having a great year, but if they're just a wild card team, is Mahomes going to make MVP? I think you can make a strong Stafford case, obviously, though they still have to win the division, which is not going to be easy. So I think they say it shouldn't matter, but it does. We know it does. And in this draft, let's see, we got Mike and Eddie in here. Appreciate you guys for joining me. And Mike is on the board right now. So if the Colts win their division, and particularly if they're the 2 seed, the 1 or the 2 seed in the AFC, I think Drake May and Stafford, Mahomes, a little bit of Allen, those are the guys I think really are competing for it, because even if the Lions win their division, I don't see anyone there. I definitely don't see Jalen Hurts, despite them probably walking away with the East. Definitely don't see anyone from the AFC North, just between Lamar's injury and Steelers. If they win the division, regardless of who wins it, I just don't see anyone from the North. Then out West, I mean, maybe Herbert if they get hot and they win the division, but nobody from the Broncos would if it ends up being them. So I think it's like a 6-7 man race at this point. JT being the one guy. Let's see. Let me go Puka here. I'll go Puka Rico. So, does JT necessarily need to set a record? No, obviously that would help. But yeah, I mean, if he sets the touchdown rushing record or total touchdown record, because some have been receiving, I think that could help. But the key is, do the Colts, I think they maintain the division, but if they're like the 1 or the 2 seed, I think he's got a real, I actually do think he has a real shot. But it's also because some of these other typical names are not in the best spot right now. I agree. They don't. But, like a couple of years ago when people talked about McCaffrey, one of the things I think did it was, of course, like Lamar had just had a monster final couple games and then won it, including a game against the 49ers, primetime, So, that, if I'm not mistaken, like the Colts, I think they play the Chiefs coming up. If like the Colts go in and beat the Chiefs, like, is Mahomes going to get it over JT? Like that to me would be kind of crazy. I mean, so stuff like that, I think, will go a long way to determining it. But this is the thing, like no quarterback is just truly walking away. Like the last couple of years, we've just seen like some special quarterback performances, and sometimes a combo. Like Josh Allen last year wasn't always passing, but he had 15 rushing touchdowns, whatever it was. Right now we're just not seeing anyone who's dominating and winning at that level. I'm going to go George Kittle and Nico. But yeah, I mean, and this is the thing, he's also contributing in the receiving game. So his total yardage is going to be very high. Maybe not like, again, record breaking, but it's going to be up there. More so than like, say, Derrick Henry last year, or even Saquon. Like, I think he could be over 2,000. Saquon didn't get it last year. I think he deserves some consideration. But because, Lamar and Allen, like they were just too good and they carried their teams to similar records and success. That to me is the biggest thing. Like if these key quarterbacks aren't carrying their team to the same level of success. Now, I will say these last couple of weeks with the Rams, like just having Stafford throw 4 touchdowns every game, I think they are saying like, hey, whether this is Stafford's swan song or not, we could get him an MVP on the way out. So need to figure out my quarterback here and probably another running back. Not the biggest Judkins fan this week. Kamani Vidal is in play. Woody Marks. If I didn't take Nico, I probably would have gone Rashard White. Now, I do know they're working in Tucker some, but still like Rashard White in this matchup. And do that, and then take my quarterback, which, I just mentioned Stafford. It is a tougher matchup. I think I'll do it. I won't end up with a ton of Stafford this week, but I'll do it for this team. Ravens-Bengals game, week 15, is going to advance a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, that could be just a massive high-scoring game. And does feel like you might want a piece or two of that game. Yep. No, me too, especially Big Dog, and I have a lot of Higgins also. So JT is matchup proof, but it does play Seattle, and that for a tournament format, that could be the thing. It just takes one like down game. Like Look at his Steeler game, by far his worst game of the year. If that's week 15, that's going to shut the door on a lot of people. Yeah, and that's the benefit of something like, say, the Sprint, where, look at the game before and after the Steelers game, just absolute monsters for JT. So if that's his playoffs, you're fine. You're totally fine. But and same with marathon, like you're totally fine with that. But in tournament format, you probably aren't advancing the next week. It sounds like Meg was out there bum hunting stream drafts. I mean, yes and no, because yes, it's going to be like 50 some percent. Excuse me 1 second. It's going to be 50 some percent JT teams advancing, but and this is more for like BBM or big board or public, like things that are like 1 of 10. Like if it's 1 of 5, 1 of 6, 1 of 4, or even like 2 of 12s, like you'll still have definitely chances to advance a JT team on a bad week. But let's say it's a 1 of 10 or above, right? Yeah, odds are you get into a pod, half your pod has JT, but that also means half of it doesn't. And even if it's, 6 or even 7 of the 10 don't have JT, those 3 or 4 teams that don't just have a massive leverage play. If JT is a bad week. Now, if JT is a big week, those 3 or 4 teams are essentially dead. Unless they obviously have somebody who's very comparable. But even this week, like Gibbs was well behind JT. Yeah, so kind of, yeah. Justin Fields keeps winning. How could they bench him? Yeah. I mean, that is technically true. Technically true. Not sure why I'm entering since you're my biggest rival and crushed me 13-4. Appreciate Legion. Went Bijan, but didn't want to do. You think Algier Vultures? Yeah, I know. Like this, Meg and I talked about yesterday. For as good as Bijan's been, he only has 4 touchdowns on the year. I mean, just totally wild for his level of total volume. We got Paulino in here. What up, Steve? Hope you're doing well. McVay definitely putting it in Stafford's arm more. Yeah, 100%. I mean, Kyron and Corbin are actually doing well, but I think this is the thing, like last couple of years, Cup's been banged up and, of course, gotten older. And so they haven't been able to trust anyone but Puka. But now they have Devontae Adams, and it's like we have 2 of the best receivers in the league, like easily 2 of the top 10 best receivers in the game. Stafford can do whatever he wants. Defenses can't figure it out. They're using all these 2 and 3 tight end sets, making it even more confusing on defenses because they have to put in like linebackers and base personnel to try and match. Because otherwise, if they just go with, nickel corners and dime backs and stuff like that, like then Stafford will just check to a running play and Kyron will run all over him. I got on that in the season as well. Ravens Bangans, too bad all my players got hurt. Yeah. Sorry about that, Who. I know you've been dealing with a ton of injuries. I feel like a good low-end play could be a Titans rookie off the bye. Question is who, DK or Iman or a wide receiver? Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing will be, does their rookie quarterback, can he get them the ball? I mean, whatever we think about any of these guys, they've just been so inefficient at getting, with their passing. So maybe, Ward will step up and start looking better. But it's been rough. I guess I don't have a lot of faith just with all the turmoil. Barkley had a 50% advance rate last year and it wasn't super. Yeah, exactly, because he literally had his worst game the week 15, and then he had a great game. It was against Washington week 16. He had like 24, 25 points. in 27, something like that, and was one like RB3 on the week. It didn't matter because just not enough teams made it through. And also the difference, this is the difference between like the 1 of 5s, 1 of 6s. You maybe still can advance, because if you get to, your pod and say 1 of 6 and 50% of you have Barkley, sure, you still have to beat 3 teams that don't, but that's much easier than, and then just the other 2 teams that do, so in the same example, if it's a 1 of 10, 50% of Barkley to beat 5 teams that don't have him. Or as we're talking this year, JT. So yeah, very wild. I'm hearing a few Bucky teams. I wonder when he comes back. Yeah, the Bucky situation is interesting, because even initially it was like, okay, he might miss this week. Then it's like, okay, another week. Then it's like, okay, probably they'll wait till after the bye. So that was 3 weeks for Rashard. And then after the bye, it's like, okay, he's still not ready. And then now not ready again. So totally wild. Let's get into another Wildcat. I will count it down from 10. And in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. All right. So waiting on just one more. It's so crazy on drafters that guys in first and second in the main event. Yeah, no, that's talk about having a good year, right? He is. I'm not familiar with the guy. I know who Hames knows a bit more of the drafters streets. So, but yeah, this guy, he's currently in first and second place in the drafters main. So that'd be one hell of a payday if it ended up that way. But he has also got to feel good that he's got 2 huge teams ready to go. All right. We got Big Squeeze in here. We got Mike. We got Hartman. We got Eddie. So Kobe Goat. Not sure if Squeeze or Kobe Goat's in here as well, but love seeing a friends and family draft. Hopefully more than one of us can cash. Unfortunately, got the 6 spot again, but we will do what we do and try and get a different build this time. All right, I will take Bijan. I was happy to see Bijan or Jacobs there, because I definitely wanted one of those. I won't take London. I'll go McBride. I mean, it is impossible to deny what Jacoby Brissett has done with McBride these last 4 weeks, 17-24, 14-23. And then San Francisco's defense is just so banged up and very susceptible. So this week, I just don't feel tight end is as deep. And I do think McBride in particular can be a separator. I mean, I think Kittle could have a big game. We'll have to see what like Gadsden's health is and Kincaid, but it doesn't sound great if I considered week to week. Like, I guess he could play, but ideally I'd rather be saying day to day. I think that's what Gadsden says. Yeah, day to day. So probably a better chance that Gadsden's ready to go than Kincaid. And you can pivot to Knox, but I don't know. Just to me, not as deep as his tight end this week. Yeah, no, I said this yesterday. The 5th, 6th pick actually feels pretty good because you can like double up some running backs. I think McBride is very well worth it. Quarterback, I'm pushing this week. This actually feels not, in part because there's no JT. It's not as top heavy, where sometimes it's like the top 2, top 3 picks. usually top 4. This week, I kind of like the top 8 picks. Feel pretty good about them. So, like having the 6th or 5th pick, I'm usually going to feel pretty strong where I'm at. Like the one issue is what I kind of got down to is like you don't want Bijan London. So, but there's at least other options. Let's go Lad. 2 tough run defenses there. I don't hate going Henry. I think I'll go Henry. I mean, you can always take a lesser back like a Vidal, a Rashard White, somebody like that. But end of the day, it's Derrick Henry. He's getting 20 carries. He'll have games where he doesn't get a touchdown, but he'll also have games where he gets 2. If he pairs that up with a game where he gets 100, you're just having a big monster game. I also like Lad early because I like Herbert a fair amount this week. I mean, Jacksonville's defense is just reeling right now. I think Herbert has a bounce back. Yeah, it could be this week. It's just weird to be labeled that way. As for another receiver, the Adams thing sounds pretty good. So I wouldn't hate taking him like a Dunze. You know, I'm not going to take Marv in this build, but I do like Marv overall. Dobbs injury, fortunately, because I was in on him. I definitely need to see what that's about. And I don't want to take another Charger. There are some deeper options, but we'll see. Eddie goes Stafford. I think I'm going to take a Herbert and Rome here and wrap it this team. So no real scroll downs for this build. But yeah, sometimes you don't need that. So this one ends Herbert, Bijan, Derrick Henry, Lad, Rome, and Trey McBride. We'll see what the other guys do. And then we'll get into another draft. So Hartman takes Gadsden. Yeah, Gadsden, you know, that's to me a nice late pick because obviously you can swap it out. And there's no like, it's one thing when you're swapping out a guy who's being taken in the 1st or 2nd round. Yeah, you know, like when some guys are banged up or even 3rd round, and then it's like opportunity cost. But, you know, Hartman's determining, yeah, I mean, obviously maybe Otten and Likely would have been guys he wanted, but it's versus a other tight end that he would be within consideration. So I definitely like, I'm not usually a huge like swap out, but for guys like Adams and Gadsden who are, you know, down lower, and even because did Kincaid get drafted? Yeah, so Kincaid, like in this format, taking Kincaid is not a terrible thing. I would just, you know, 6th round only, of course, and if he gets swapped out, he gets swapped out. So let's see. Mike did Chase, Lamar, Jefferson, Higgins, Woody Marks, Isaiah Likely. Like that team. You know, there's not many teams where you'd want to double up receiver, Bengals and Rams are essentially the two that would make sense. And, we saw this matchup just a couple weeks ago, and both those guys cooked. Jackson, Jefferson, Woody Marks likely. Jefferson going so late, just have to hope he gets that spike week. It feels like there could be a squeaky wheel narrative building there, because he does not seem happy. But we'll see if how that works out. Hartman goes with the double receivers at the top. Puka, Rice, Jalen Warren, Patrick Mahomes with Rice, Judkins, and then Gadsden, as I mentioned. Eddie, Jacobs, London, Nico, Kittle, Stafford, and then Aaron Jones. So, all good solid builds. Let's get into another draft. I'll do one more Wildcat, then chat once. I can mix it up to the Battle Royale. I'm fine doing either. All right, let me count down here. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. Yeah, exactly. It's the weeks where, a couple weeks ago, where it was like Jacobs potentially out. It's like, you can swap them, but it's not fun to swap out a first or early second rounder. So yeah, I don't mind the last round swap. Team was shit, Steve. It auto picked Higgins because my phone sucks. You don't have to keep me around. Excuse me. No, I mean, honestly, it's the one. It is like the one of the two situations where it's fine. Like Chase and Higgins have both shown multiple games, not just this year, but in their career, where they can both produce enough to pay off. So that is very few teams would I be okay with it, but that's the one. All right, I'm in here. Mike's in here. We got Young Mula in here. Again, Big Squeeze and Kobe Goat. And then Rudy, U.S. Marine Corps. So this time I got the first pick. Do like Chase a lot, but I will stick with CMC at the top. So Mike's up. Now taking Chase, which, tough to get away from Chase. It's the Steelers defense. They played better the last 2 weeks, though still gave up some big plays in the passing game. I think they're more susceptible in the passing game than running game. I don't know if Chase Brown will have the same success they did in this matchup a couple weeks ago. He could, but I think they've tightened that up a little bit. So let me 3 picks away. I mean, I know Rice is in the slot and they're without Surtain. It's fine. Still, Denver, we've seen Denver just kind of be generally stingy all around. Though it is nice for Kansas City to have the bye, though kind of mitigated with Denver having the Thursday game. I think I will go and go Rice and Buka. As much as I'm a little worried about Rice this week, it's not like I don't want to have any of him. And, he can obviously pay off with multi-touchdown game. He's getting so many opportunities in and around the red zone. Sorry, Kicks. I'll definitely do probably one or two more drafts, so you can get in one of those. Good luck. Hope your draft's going well. I probably will be low on Mahomes this week. I mean, outside of Jackson Dart, I don't know many quarterbacks who've gotten there against Denver. So whether I'm doing a quarterback that will be unstacked or find a tight end stack, we'll see what comes up. This could be a 3 wide receiver team also. Running back to me just dries up a little too much this week. I don't hate Baker. Not sure what I want to do with this pick. Jenkins is just tough for me. I mean, the team is just, they're sticking, not that I think Shador is a massive upgrade, but you're sticking with Dylan Gabriel. There's just so little touchdown scoring opportunities for this team. He cannot do it himself. So, go Baker. Don't want to do Kelsey because of Rice or Otten. We're going to go Vidal. Vidal and Woody Marks, I feel, are very similar. I trust the Chargers offense more. Yeah, that's what we'll go with. I don't mind Kyle Pitts as a tight end option. I mean, he's still getting targets, didn't necessarily get the catches, but I might do the Gadsden thing like Hartman did last time. Just easily swap it out. I don't love it with the Vidal team. Schultz, highly targeted. I mean, way more targets than I ever imagined. I might just do that. Since I didn't do Nico, didn't do Woody, this could be the Schultz team. Doubt I'll have many. I think I'll have my write-up tonight. I think he's will be in other plays for me. So it'll probably be like a top 9 tight end for me. Similar to his ranking, but probably bump him slightly down. Just struggle to trust the offense. I kind of feel, and this is why I'm so high on McBride, I feel like McBride really is separate this week. I mean, he is in a tier up by himself, just because the matchups are not great for some of the other tight ends. And then with Kincaid and Gadsden banged up, even if they play, they are not necessarily going to be at 100%. All right, I finished McCaffrey, Rice, and Buka, Baker, Vidal, Schultz, Mike, Chase, Cook, Henry, Badunze, Caleb Williams, Hawkinson, Young Mula, Jacobs, Jefferson, Kittle, Higgins, Marv, Purdy. And it does sound like, and that's another one you can obviously swap out. So I definitely don't mind that call, especially when you have Kittle. Not that, and you could swap to Flacco, which actually is a nice fun swap if you want to stack, or just another quarterback. So yeah, that's another good draft. Let me hit up chat, see if there's anything there. we will jump into another one. Let's just stick with the Wildcat. I'll do my share of Battle Royales later, and I'm sure Meg and I will do a couple tomorrow night, or Thursday, sorry. So let me do another Wildcat. I'm going to enter in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. All right. Yeah, these are filling fast, so that's nice. Yeah, Purdy does seem likely to be back this week. So I like that call on it. But it's also, like we talked about, the fact that you're getting him in the 6th round, if for some reason he's not easy to swap out, no real loss. And I agree. I like him this week. Sounds like good things. So we got Young Kicks did get in, got the 101. Young Muller got in here. So appreciate you guys for joining me. So let's see. While I'm waiting, let me check and see if there's been any NFL news or updates. Nothing too recent that I see. That injury news usually comes out a little later. Tuesday is not a big day for it. All right. It will be very interesting to see, particularly the Giants situation. I'm guessing even if Dart passes concussion protocol, I would be shocked if they put him out there. Like, why risk it? My guess is there'll be some orders to change the way they're deploying him. So we might have had the last game of like the big Dart, rushing upside. Not that he'll never run again, but won't be surprised me if they put the reins on a little bit. Right. I'm going to go Jacobs. Since I didn't get Bijan, do I go London? I can go McBride. Like I said, it's just such a tier break. I mean, he's getting targets comparable to any receiver in the league, and it's not even like we're worried. I mean, of course, you want the 100 yards, but yeah, like he generally doesn't have the 100-yard equity of most receivers who are getting 10 plus targets, but that touchdown equity is huge. Oh yeah, I could definitely use Purdy back. Oh my God, Jaden and Purdy and you are in first place. Jeez, that's impressive. Yeah, let me look behind the scenes while the draft's going on. Purdy teams, how are they advancing right now? So I'm currently advancing 20 of my 139 Purdy teams that show up in the user portfolio for BBMD. Again, that doesn't include necessarily everything. Another one similar to Burrow, did 23 Purdy teams similar to the 24 I did for Burrow. Sure, some of those are together, which is part of the factor, and only advancing one. So maybe that, Purdy coming back could help me get a few more Superflex teams advancing. Like first puppy 0 of 8. So maybe I'll be lucky to get 1 or 2 of those through and a few others. So yeah, hopefully he comes back and can help out some teams. Especially because I know I paired Purdy with Jaden, actually, usually with the third quarterback as well. But, a lot of times that's like third quarterback. And even if it is somebody like Rodgers or Darnold, that's just a lot of weight on their shoulders. If it's somebody like Geno or Cam Ward, been in trouble. So it will definitely be nice to get Purdy back. All right. right, I'll do a Jalen Warren team. I do think he's overpriced this week, even in a thinner running back week. He just hasn't shown the upside. But I'll take him and Lad here. The amount of creatine that Dart takes, even if the trends try, my body is still going to be great. Yeah, that's true. No, I mean, I agree, but we take for an instance like Drake May. Drake May suffered a concussion, maybe his third full start of the year. I know it was fairly early and came back. I think he did come back. Yeah, he didn't miss a game, if I'm not mistaken. Came back the next week. But that was the whole difference. Like, they didn't call designed runs. He scrambled a decent amount. They did not call designed runs. And I think did try and keep him out of harm's way. I'm sure Dart will scramble some, but some of these designed runs, like, I don't know if he'll be their goal line back anymore. Like, those are just, it's the same reason, like, some of these other teams, like the Packers. I mean, Jordan Love has mobility, but, they'll, when they do tush-push or stuff, Steelers, obviously with an older quarterback, a lot of these teams, they opt for a tight end. Even the Ravens, like, they'll Mark Andrews run it, not Lamar. So, yeah, I wonder if they'll take away some of those key, he's not the goal line back. He'll still get a rushing touchdown here or there, but it just could mean he's more Lamar versus Hurts or Allen. Because he's been playing like Hurts and Allen. All right, coming up, final picks in this one. No Herbert. That is unfortunate. I'll take Rome and Caleb. So easy pivot there. I was originally going to scroll down at receiver just to mix it up a bit. But with Herbert being taken, going Rome there. Let's see. Kicks is Young Mool and Kicks making their final picks. All those teams where I didn't take May because I already, exactly. That's the one time where, like, buy stuff can bite you. I mean, same with like, Jaden Herbert teams. Like, oh, can't stack Herbert with Jaden, can't stack Knicks with Jaden. It's like, oh, okay, well, they definitely would have been much better picks, just in general. And same, Burrow, Dak, like, a lot more Burrow teams would be advancing if you were stacked with Dak. So, not saying that's the wrong call. It's just that's the unfortunate thing when you have an injury then paired with one of the better quarterbacks ends up with the same bye. So now Dart has been evaluated for 4 times already this year for concussion. Dude, maybe too odd for his own good. Sadly, I have a lot of him in best ball. Yeah. Well, I think I do wonder if that's why, one of the issues, not just the 10-point leads that Dable has been surrendering, but, I know some fans have called for it. Reporters are hinting that ownership hasn't been happy with it. Like they trade up for this guy. They give up some picks, and I think he's worth it. I think he's a talented guy, but you got to be available. And being evaluated for a concussion essentially every other game, it's not a great look. So Kicks, CMC, Mbuka, Henry, Kelsey, Marv, and Baker Mayfield, Young Mula, Puka, Cook, Josh Allen, DK Metcalf, Kamani Vidal, and Kyle Pitts. So nice teams. All right, let's do one more. And then we will probably get out of here. answer a few questions and then sorry about that. I'll get out of here so I can get ready for the stream with Whohames. All right, let me do one more Wildcat. I will enter in 10 seconds, and in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. All right. One more person. And let me check the NFL news real quick. Yeah, nothing too much going on. And no, the dart. The other thing with the dart thing is, he actually has been. I did not end up with a ton of him in best ball. Took him a little bit. I'm at like 3-4%. A little bit more on the 20-round format sites, of course, but he's absolutely been a guy pushing teams through. So we'll see if he misses time, and then he's got a bye coming up. So we got Legion in here at 2. We got Kicks back in here at 5. Good luck to everyone. I'm at the 3 spots, a little different. I've been kind of on the ends, so in the middle this time. All right. So, we talked the Jonathan Taylor buy this week. The other team on buy is the Saints. While they've obviously been disappointing, we'll say, and I'll talk about this more with Whohames, they looked decent. I mean, one of the best they've looked all year, for sure, on Sunday. Not to say that they're going to be a fantasy darling going forward, but Kamara was functional, Olave, Juwan Johnson, even losing Shaheed, they looked very functional fantasy-wise. So definitely makes me feel better about some of my Saints shares down the stretch when they come back from their bye. Not that Carolina is the greatest defense, but I do think it's a positive. I will take Chase at 3. Yeah, this is an interesting week where you kind of have McCaffrey at 1, got 3 receivers bunched together, 2 other running backs kind of bunched in the same range in Jacobs and Bijan. Like Whohames mentioned, the top 6-8 picks feel actually pretty good. I'd actually go even 9 picks. Feel pretty strong about. So I was hoping for Rico to come back. Did not get him. I'm going to take Josh Allen. Well, I'm going to be lower in quarterbacks this week. I do think Allen's worth this, 10 to 15 range. Lamar, I'm actually going to be lower, and I know he had a good week against Cleveland the first time around. Just, not sold we'll see that same thing again. And there's just other quarterbacks I'd rather take. Yeah, I mean, I know some people were, I guess at least I didn't feel that way about Rattler. Like, even some of Rattler's, like me, his best game was that Giants game. And it was just like a blown coverage on the Shaheed one. He had a couple other solid throws, but wasn't to me like super impressive. I mean, Chuck, again, not trying to anoint him anything major, but it was a rough start against the Rams, but second half he was better in that game. And then this game, I thought he was very competent, very solid across the board. So I guess I just felt pretty good about it. I will take Justin Jefferson here. You know, I doubt many times we thought we'd have the ability to get Chase and Jefferson in the same drafts, particularly not at like the 6th spot. Ricky late season hammer part 2. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping Ricky Pearsall comes back. I could use him, that's for sure. I have a good chunk of him, especially with some of the other injuries and situations going on for receiver. Fortunately, sounds like he'll probably miss this week, which means you just have week 12 and 13 if he then comes back. And May is just a playoff hammer, which, isn't as great because it needs some advanced rates. But yeah, it could be frustrating. Kyron's a tough matchup, but it's still Kyron. And, I know he splits the role a bit with Quorum, but 3 games, 15 plus points in the last 4. He's always live for 2 touchdowns. It's also a bet against, obviously not doing Puka or Devontae Adams. So if somebody gets there against Seattle, it's probably one of those 3. And running back. Tight end, I think I can wait on. I'll take Woody Marks in this one. I took Badal before. It's for tight end. Go Gadsden, sub him out. You could make the same case for Kincaid, but just seems very unlikely. All right, wrapping up this draft. This one will be my final one before wrap things up. Go review the other teams and then get on out of here. And won't do Schultz with Woody Marks. Yeah, I'll do Kyle Pitts. I actually don't mind that. I would have done Gadsden just because I do think he's more likely to play than Kincaid. All right, so Legion here wraps up his draft. Puka, Rice, Henry, Judkins, Kate Otten, and Matt Stafford. Kicks goes Jacobs, London, Warren, Higgins, Loveland, and Aaron Rodgers. Okay, well, thank you guys for joining me. Here is the link to Uheem stream, and don't forget, Spread and Tyler are going to be on, I believe, at 6 or 6:30 tonight. So keep an eye out for that. And then Degen Dads will be tomorrow. Meg and I will be Thursday. Then Friday will be, of course, Prop Party, and then Degen Dads again. So thanks everyone for joining me. Hope your best ball sweats are going well, and good luck in the daily streets this week also. And I will catch you next time, and hope you have a good rest of the day. Peace.